Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today to share with you this layout as part of the November Hop, and the theme is Grateful. So I am using the 49th and Market Art Options Alena, A-L-E-N-A collection to document some photos of fall in my neighborhood. And I am grateful that I live somewhere where we get all four seasons. And so that is why this layout is titled Grateful. So I have a piece of ivory cardstock, and I am using this piece with the blue watercolor to bring out my photos. I am not one for mixed media, but I decided I really wanted to have a more of a grungy sort of feel to this, and so I was brave and I got out some of my distress spray and did the packaging technique. And I don't really like the roundness of that top right corner, but it is what it is. I could have gone in after the fact and added more color to it, but I honestly didn't really realize that it is what it is until after the fact. And so it's okay. I'm going to move on. So I have this really awesome stamp and coordinating die. It's just a teeny little die. It's a mini delight from AlteNew, and it says hip hip, and then you also have a stamp for hooray, you did it, and so proud of you. And it's actually a shadow, so you definitely need to use a stamp aligner, tooler, thinger. This is one of those discontinued things because it was that whole to do with the stamp, the Misty, and so I wanted to layer up the inks. So you can see for the example that I have of that yellow and red hip, I layered the stamps. I wasn't having so much success here, which is why I've gone ahead and done it a second time, but I know that this is very much because I chose two tones that are very close to each other, whereas the yellow and the red are not quite so close. If I had done yellow and orange, I might have had similar problems to what I am having here. But I am using a darker color for the shadow, and this is where having the stamp aligner or the Misty is super important, because then you put the stamp down exactly where it should go, and then there is a coordinating die. It is sold separately, and I do have that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out that. So my title, well, it's actually my subtitle. It says hip hip hooray, it's fall, and you'll see that come together in the remainder of the layout, more towards the end. I am one of these people who I don't know that there's a logical flow. There's a logical flow in my brain, but probably not a logical flow to the otherwise normal, quote unquote, person. So I will often do things in multi-steps, and I will have steps that, like subset steps that exist in between. So take a closer look at that photo. Anybody notice anything wrong? Yeah, leaves don't hang. Well, they do hang. They don't go uphill, which is exactly, this photo is upside down. And I will realize that after the fact. In fact, I will not realize that until I am taking my photos. And so I have to go in, and of course there's layers and things are, you know, all stacked on top of each other, but you will see in the close-ups that I do fix that. So I'm using some of the rub-ons here to just add to my sort of distressed, naturey. When I say grunge, I don't mean grunge. I just mean sort of more naturey, more natural look. And so I'm using some of the coordinating of the cool tone blue-green rub-ons to just add to my background to give that kind of more naturey feel to it. And you can see I have 4 photos, and I want to overlap them. When I had planned this layout in my head, I wasn't planning on that left-hand border being quite as wide as it is, but I didn't really want to rip up any of the greenery that I had there, that lovely watercolor. I wanted a title in orange because there's not a lot of orange in the layout, and I really thought that it stood out, and so it stood out as a title without having chipboard or to pop that up. I really hate popping up things where I have to use 50,000 pieces of foam. And so I actually went to my Simple Stories fall collection, and I created that grateful. I just welded letters together in Design Studio and created that so that I would have the orange. There's some really nice reds, and there is sort of an orange to it, but it's a really soft orange, and I wanted this brighter orange. So now I've got the structure of my layout, and I'm very happy with that background. It's just a matter of adding some embellishments. So I have this little butterfly, and I'm just putting the double-sided adhesive in the center so that it gets a nice strong stick. Both the pattern papers and the cardstock elements are super, super thick cardstock. It's really nice that they're as strong as they are, but you definitely need to get a little bit more adhesive down in order to get that to stick to your page, especially if you're going to store them vertically and not have them fall off your page. So I have a couple of chipboard pieces here from the collection that I'm putting down. Again, this is just, I've got a lot going on in the layout, and so some of it is about adding a little bit of diversity of color and contrast, and some of it is just about having movement and texture. There's so much going on in those photos already. So these are the laser cut elements, and I had really wanted to use one of those window frames, but again, as I said, I didn't really leave myself a whole lot of room. I'm also definitely looking for a little bit more red or orange to add to this, and so that laser cut leaf there is absolutely perfect for just pulling in the contrast of the orangey reds that are in the photo. You've heard me mention this several of my most recent videos. I have a lot of just my stash collection that's sitting on my desk, things that discarded things from previous layouts. And so those leaves, I'm sure you've seen them. I want to say that's from another layout I did for a cherry on top. So, and that too, I'm pretty sure, but the colors worked perfectly, and it just added those darker contrast colors that I was looking for. So this is a YouTube hop. This is my friends and design team members from A Cherry on Top. And as I stated earlier, the theme is grateful or thankful. So there's many ways you can interpret that. Not all of us celebrate Thanksgiving, and some of us celebrate our Canadian Thanksgiving friends, right? Celebrated in October, I want to say. And so I choose, there's always things that we are grateful for. And for me, as I was creating this layout, I was particularly grateful for having all 4 seasons, and especially fall, because that is my favorite. I love the way that the red in that chipboard really draws your eye down to the title, because there really is a lot going on here. So that's one of the laser pieces that I just pulled off. Again, I wanted a little bit more red to integrate that. I decided I wanted the Hooray, and I didn't want to die cut that, so I put it on a label, and partly because it draws your eye more to the Hooray. It was going to get lost in all of that busyness if I hadn't put it on that white label. And it's sort of it's not a crisp white. It's I'm going to call it, for lack of a better word, a dirty white. And then I want to complete that. So hip, hip, hooray. Yeah, big deal, Suzanna. What do you mean by hip, hip, hooray? We usually associate that with a birthday. And so in order to draw your attention to it not being a birthday, I finished the phrase and said it's fall, and I'm going to do that with some foam thickers from my stash. Again, I wanted a few more layers here. So I've got some old Heidi Swap mist, and it's got a little bit of brown shimmer to it, and so that is going to wrap it up, my friends. So be sure to check out the description box down below and head to see how all the other girls have interpreted the theme fall. Enjoy the close-ups, and be sure to leave a comment for a chance to win a prize in the box down below as well. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.